Welcome to Chair and Extremity Pulsed Electromagnetic Field Therapy at Naturally Unbridled Wellness. I'm Dr. Patty Barch, the owner of the facility, and I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about PEMF. First of all, who should not have PEMF? It's a very short list, actually. If you have an implanted device with a battery that cannot be turned off or removed, so like a pacemaker, cochlear implants, those types of things are contraindicated with PEMF. Other things that are totally fine are artificial knees and hips, plates, screws, IUDs, all of those things. As long as it doesn't have a battery, it's totally fine, okay? So we're also going to talk a little bit about PEMF therapy. I'm going to go over the different equipment that we have here, how to enhance your results, and what to expect after your session. I'll also talk to you a little bit about some of the people who have had results with PEMF and go through some of their details as well. So first of all, about PEMF. PEMF is also known as cellular exercise. It provides electrons or energy to the cells. So basically, while you're sitting in the chair or utilizing any of our pulsed electromagnetic field equipment, what it's doing is it's creating an energy field by emitting electrons. And what your cells are doing is the cells that need electrons are just harvesting them up. So sometimes when people sit in the chair, they'll notice that they start to really feel the pulsing in a certain part of their body. That may be an indication of a weaker area that's needing a lot of electrons. It's pretty common for someone to sit down and then kind of reach under their right rib cage and go, oh, I can feel it right here. And so we start to ask a bunch of gallbladder questions at that point. But energy flows like water. So you can think about it like when you run the hose down the driveway, the water settles into the lowest parts. And the same thing is happening in your body as we flood your body with electrons. The lowest parts, the lowest frequency, the weakest cells are going to be the ones to take up the energy first. And just like when a pothole fills with water, it's going to start to overflow into another area. So it's very common for people to say, oh, I'm really feeling it here. Oh, now I'm feeling it here. It's the energy moves as the cells basically become saturated with energy. Typically, when we start people on pulsed electromagnetic field therapy, we typically start them in our XL Pro suite where we have 2 devices, and I'll talk to you more about those shortly. But we recommend 3 one-hour sessions as close together as possible because the sessions build on each other, and we prefer those to be done within 10 days, but that's not mandatory. Now, those are for people who want to investigate the opportunities of PEMF and what it can do for them. Maybe it's people who have had a chronic condition for a long period of time. Those sorts of things. We brought in the chair and extremity therapy because what was happening is because our other suite is so busy, we were booked out 2 to 3 weeks, and people with an acute injury or acute situation weren't able to come in, and we wanted to be able to help them to get back on track as fast as possible. So we created just a different option for people to receive PEMF, and I'm going to go through that in a lot more detail further in the presentation. By the 3rd session, we have a really good idea about how PEMF is going to work for you or for anyone who tries the sessions. And then at that point, we can recommend packages. So we do offer a variety of packages, hours and half hours, 4-packs and 10-packs, and we have some promotions on those as well. What's really great is our introductory offer for the chair. For the XL Pro PEMF, which is the top of the line, we have an introductory offer of 3 one-hour sessions for just $99. So if you really want to experience the Cadillac of PEMF, consider that package as well. In most cases, your first session will be a gentle flooding of your energy field, and then subsequent sessions will be more targeted to area of concern, such as knee, foot, head, that sort of thing. So PEMF cellular exercise energizes your cells by providing electrons, which can help to reduce pain, oxygenate cells, improve energy, and promote healing. One awesome thing about PEMF, because the energy helps the cell membrane to open and close so it can uptake nutrients and expel toxins better. Sometimes we have a detox reaction, which we want to make sure that we support clients through that as well. Clients who feel a little tired or a little achy after a PEMF session, it's typically an indication that we mobilized a lot of toxins, and we actually have a protocol for managing that, so it's not really a concern, but we like to make people aware of it. But most people actually feel pretty amazing after PEMF. So again, it supports nutrient uptake, oxygenation of tissues, and circulation as well. During your session in the Pro Suite, depending on the mobility level, we may use the massage table that has PEMF built into it, or we'll use the chair like you're sitting in now. And then we have ring and paddle accessories, and I'll show you some of the other accessories we use. And at no time should you feel any discomfort. We always want to select the intensity based on the client's comfort level. As you may be noticing, you could be feeling tingling, pulsing, or twitching vibration. Over time and in subsequent sessions, the intensity of your treatment may be increased. What I do want to address at this point, because a lot of times anyone who's had experience with a TENS unit will say, oh, this is just like a TENS unit. It isn't. The experience mimics that, where you're feeling like you're on a TENS unit because you're getting some muscle contraction. TENS units emit a disruptive energy, and what they're doing is they are creating confusion between the painful cells and the brain, so that the message that there's pain isn't actually getting to the brain and you feel better. What PEMF does is it's emitting a healing energy instead of a disruptive energy. So even though you're getting muscle twitches, it's actually creating a healing energy field. One of my clients who's a chiropractor was in the chair, in one of the chairs, and I was in the other chair, and we were both getting the PEMF therapy, and I had mine cranked up pretty high and had a lot of muscle twitching going on. She's like, you're going to be so sore afterwards. But what I realized is, no, actually, I'm not, because what happens is when you have like E-stim or TENS units and you get those muscle contractions, that's expending cellular energy. But when you're getting those contractions during a PEMF session, it's actually a reflection of those cells taking up energy. So it's kind of the opposite. I liken it to an electron massage. When I really crank up the intensity of my session, I'm feeling like those muscles deep down are getting massaged on a cellular level, and it feels amazing afterwards. So we often start people on a gentle level just to get them used to the experience and to make sure we're not going to have a detoxification reaction. And again, we make people comfortable with blankets and videos and books, etc. So this is a video that we show to people to demonstrate the intensity of the PEMF, and as you can see, this gentleman is sitting in a chair and he is only using the rings on his shoulder, and he's got them cranked up pretty good, so you can see here. So he's got a pretty good twitch going, you can see that, and he's probably getting a lot of relief. We see people with all kinds of shoulder injuries getting increased range of motion from the PEMF. So each cell holds a charge, and so I want you to understand that cells have a capacitance, and it's their ability to hold an electrical charge. And just like your cell phone, over time, it doesn't hold a charge for quite as long. And there's also things that could cause it to lose its charge throughout the day. Obviously, the more active someone is, or if they are not drinking enough water and that sort of thing, they're not going to be able to hold on to their charge. So just like your cell phone needs to be recharged, the cells within your body also need to be recharged, and there's a variety of ways to do that. So Obviously, drinking clean water is most important. I tell people you're 70 to 80% water. You don't want to be 70 to 80% dirty water. A lot of people are familiar with earthing or grounding, and it's connecting to the Earth's energetic frequency, which is 7.8 hertz. And that's one of the reasons why people love to walk on the beach, because the salt water in your bare feet increase the conductivity so that you're uptaking the electrons from the Earth that much better. Raw fruits and vegetables, they have their own life force, their own energy, and of course, exercise is a great way to improve circulation and increase cellular energy as well. But I like people to think of PEMF as a nutrient. So think about, there's a variety of things that your cells need to function properly. So obviously they need a variety of nutrients that you can get through healthy food and through nutritional supplements. Well, electrons are like a nutrient that your body needs, and the PEMF therapy is a way to receive those electrons to uptake that nutrient. And in the same vein, that where if you took a multivitamin one time, you would be healthier for a little while. And if you just have one PEMF session, you'll be energized for a little while. But if you think about it as a nutrient and have some sort of nutrient requirement, creating some kind of schedule for the PEMF therapy could be just a beneficial part of any holistic wellness plan. So what is PEMF used for? I love this image. So this is a 66-year-old gentleman who has a fracture in his arm, and he did pulsed electromagnetic field therapy, and in 9 days, there's no trace of the fracture at all. And there are lots and lots of stories along the lines of these. The most common reason people use PEMF is for pain. For some reason, it is just phenomenal in helping people to have pain relief. And if you think about it, the weakest cells are going to create pain because that's how they're going to get your attention. So if we're strengthening those cells with electrons, then the cells don't need to be screaming for help any longer. Injury, any kind of injury, surgical recovery, fractures, sprains, strains, all of those things have been shown to heal faster with PEMF. In fact, the FDA uses or approved the use of PEMF therapy years ago, decades ago, for bone regeneration. You may have seen people that have little plug-in things on their cast or something. And NASA has been using PEMF for bone remineralization for astronauts as they return to orbit. It can be used for any dis-ease, which is just the body's cry for help. For actual energy, one of the things we hear the most from our clients is they can't believe how much energy they have, how much they can get done without needing to take a break or to rest. It was funny, I took my portable PEMF home for the weekend and slept on it. And the next day, in just an afternoon, I planted, mulched 3 gardens and established a pond. The water part was there, but all of the flowers and the mulch all around it in one afternoon while my husband was off playing basketball. So yeah, I was like Wonder Woman that day. It's great for cellular repair. If the cells have the energy they need to repair, they're going to do what they're programmed to do. Athletic performance, I'm going to talk about a lot in this presentation about athletic performance and PEMF. When I went to advanced training in Georgia, about a third of the people in the room were competitive athletes or physical trainers. It was pretty impressive. They're really realizing the benefits of PEMF on athletic performance. And this technology is huge in the racehorse industry, by the way. It's also awesome for workout recovery, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. And better sleep. We hear this a lot from clients. Most clients will report that the night of that they have PEMF, they have just amazing sleep, and then that lasts for a period of time, and they come in and recharge. Some people will find, depending on the time of day that you're having PEMF, that they may not sleep as well that night, but then in subsequent nights they sleep really well. So we'll be interested to hear how it works for you. And a general sense of well-being. My parents do PEMF near where they live in Tennessee, and they, when I asked them, like, what have you been noticing? One of their responses was, we're just happier people. So what are some clients saying about PEMF? Definitely more energy, better sleep, happier people, less soreness or no soreness after workouts, more flexibility, easier chiropractic adjustments that hold longer, and people get so excited when their pain goes away because they can get back to the gym or to workouts or to tennis or to bike rides or whatever physical activity they had to give up because of their pain. They're really excited about being able to get that back into their lives. Oops. So anybody can have PEMF once they're born. And so you may recognize Dr. Casey Payne from Connected Family Chiropractic. She came to one of our events and she's holding her infant son in the chair while the chair is on. One great thing about the chairs is we can set them to a frequency that mimics the brain waves during sleep. So yeah, if your baby isn't sleeping, you may want to come in and hold the baby during a PEMF session, and it'll be good for both of you. And there's little Charlie with his sticker that says, I just got pulsed, ask me how I feel. He may not answer. And then in the other picture on the right, that's Danica, who works with us. That's her daughter, Ellie, who loves the chairs. She calls them the doctor chair, and she will sit in those chairs and watch videos and get good vibrations. And Danica's always like, she's never this still at home. More client feedback. You may recognize Selena from our office. One thing you may be starting to notice, depending on what your frequency is set at, is the PEMF is really relaxing. So it's pretty common for people to fall asleep, actually. Selena was one of the first people that we practiced on before we actually started working on clients, and she's pretty much bone on bone in her knees. And weather changes can really impact her. She has a lot of pain in her knees, and she's had knee surgeries and lots of stuff. And so she's pretty uncomfortable during weather changes. So when the weather starts to get a little sketchy, Selena always will pop in when she can and just pulse her knees for a few minutes. And when we were first practicing, she came in and she's like, can I please do my knees because I'm having a lot of pain. So we did each knee for 15 minutes, and she went from an 8 on the pain scale to a 0. It was pretty awesome. And the guy on the right, that's Pete. Pete actually came in for PEMF for his TMJ. That's a lot of letters. So anyway, he came in and we had him on the bed and we worked on his whole body as well as his jaw. And when he came back after his first session, he told us that he had no pain anywhere in his body, and even his shin splints were gone. He had no pain in his shins at all. So that was a really fun story too. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience. So I'm going to talk about athletes, and I don't consider myself to be an athlete, but every day I get a little farm fitness in. So I'm carrying water buckets, I'm carrying bales of hay, that sort of thing on my farm for a little while every morning. But as far as formal workouts go, my husband and I, every Saturday morning, we go to the gym together and work out. And people think this picture is pretty funny. But my experience with the PEMF was really interesting. So we brought in the PEMF, and of course it's very busy with clients during the day, and we don't have a lot of opportunity to use it ourselves. So one thing my husband and I started doing was, on Fridays after work, he would come to the office, and for about 45 minutes, we would do the PEMF on ourselves. And then that's Friday night. And then Saturday morning, we would go to the gym and we would work out. Well, the first time that we did that on a Friday night, when we went to the gym on Saturday morning, excuse me, twice I had to ask the trainer for a heavier sandbag because my cells were just functioning so much better that I had more strength than I had the week before. The other thing that we're noticing is when we go to the gym, we'll typically go out to breakfast afterwards, and then we'll stop by the office again and pulse for another 45 minutes. And what we noticed is we don't get sore after the gym anymore. So that's been pretty phenomenal. My husband told a funny story about we had done a good amount of pulsing on a Saturday, and on Sunday he went to play basketball, and he said even his friends were commenting because he was stealing the ball like crazy and making a lot of shots, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, you're like Superman today." So we personally have noticed in our uh, fitness performance that we're performing better with less soreness afterwards. And what's really been awesome is if we do hurt ourselves at the gym, or my husband plays basketball a lot, or doing stuff around the farm, we can actually get over that really quickly by addressing the area of concern with the PEMF. So let's talk about some real athletes at this point. There's 4 athletes that I'm going to touch upon today. One is Ben Greenfield, who you may have heard of, then Willie Villarreal, Emilio Palafox, and Kris Altiere. So Ben Greenfield is apparently a pretty famous guy. He's written a lot of books. He's very well known for what is called biohacking, for figuring out ways to get top performance out of your body and to achieve maximum athletic potential. And this is what he says about the pulse centers PEMF, which are the devices that we own. He says, okay, admittedly, this find is for people who like to invest in spendy biohacks or own very nice things. But this pulse centers unit is the king daddy of all PEMF units. PEMF can be used to completely erase muscle injuries fast, increase bone density, enhance focus, increase sleep quality, and produce a dizzying number of positive effects. The Pulse Centers unit is comprised of a massage table, a chair, and an all-body application accessories to provide full-body PEMF as well as pinpoint concentration. I have the chair in my bedroom and the massage table in my basement, and am on this thing every day now while reading, having phone conversations, etc. It has literally changed my body, and believe me, I use a lot of different technologies for recovery. And he also said, this PEMF system is, bar none, the most powerful and effective form of PEMF I have ever used in my life. I am quite literally blown away by it and now use it every single day. This is Emilio Palafox. He is a Bulletproof and Transformational coach and owns CrossFit Coaching. I met him at the advanced training in Atlanta, and he's a really smart guy. He's super into the brain-body connection and the neural energy that flows through the body. He's trained in a lot of different techniques to support the brain-body connection, and he's very knowledgeable in nutrition. So a picture of him, somewhat athletic guy. So this is Willie Villarreal, who owns Core Sports Recovery. I met him also at the advanced training. He's a nurse practitioner. He's a well-known expert in the ketogenic diet, and he's a CrossFit trainer and competitor. And he's a bit of a beast, if you can't tell. Like, I sat right near him in the training, and I'm looking at his biceps, which are the size of my quads. Like, the guy's a monster. Super nice guy, though, and really, really smart. And you'll see he does a lot of stuff to try to maximize his performance in these CrossFit competitions. So I went to the CrossFit website and found some stats on him. So he's 44, 5'8", 180 pounds. And this is a list of his CrossFit competition results. And in 2018, he was worldwide ranked 74th in his age group, and third in his region, and second in the state of Texas. And if you see the difference between 2017, where he was 351st, compared to 74th, the difference between 2017 and 2018, he added PEMF to his regimen. And then these are some of his stats, which I have to laugh because I'm not CrossFit literate and I don't know what filthy is or some of these things. But you can see back squat, 535 pounds, clean and jerk, 325 pounds, snatch, 235 pounds, deadlift, 565 pounds. I mean, this guy is really a beast. So pretty impressive statistics there. And you can see here he is on the top of the podium, top in his age group for CrossFit Games. And this is how Willie recovers. So, as I said, he's a nurse practitioner and he owns a center. He does CrossFit training, but also a lot of nutrition and wellness stuff. And you can see he's on the bed, and so he's treating his whole body at once, but with some focused attention on his upper arm. And this is Kris Altiere, another person that I met at the Pulse Center's advanced training. She's the one on the right. She's also 43 years old and a mother of 3. She's been an Ironman triathlete for 9 years. And 2 years ago, she was diagnosed with grade 3 cartilage loss in her right knee. Her orthopedist said that he would get her through one more marathon, but it needed to be her last one. He said, don't do a full anything anymore after this. But a year ago, she started PEMF. She took 21 minutes off her personal best marathon time after doing that, and that was still with no other treatment besides a PEMF to that cartilage loss in her knee, and that actually qualified her for the Boston Marathon. Pretty awesome result. So her triathlon time went from 3 hours and 15 minutes to 2 hours and 42 minutes. The exact same race and equipment, but 1 year older. And the only factor that varied, her nutrition was the same. Her only factor that varied was that she added PEMF to her training regimen. So earlier this year, Kris was diagnosed with a stress fracture and a plantar fascia tear. So she was 10 weeks in a walking boot, and she was concerned about muscle atrophy. So what she did was every day she would pulse her legs from hip to thigh to calf, each leg for 20 minutes per section in order at a low frequency, so there was a lot of muscle contraction because she wanted to keep her muscle tone and muscle integrity. And when she finally got out of the boot 10 weeks later, her leg strength was the same. She said at that point her limiting factor was actually cardiovascularly. Her endurance had dropped back a little bit, but she said within just a few weeks she was back to her level pre-injury. And Kris is right now still training for another marathon, and I think she said that is in a couple of weeks. So very impressive athlete. So what are the PEMF options here? So as I mentioned a little bit earlier, we have 2 options for a lot of reasons. So on the left, this is the chair and extremity PEMF. We brought this in for a couple of reasons. One is that the other PEMF suite was so booked that we had a hard time getting people who needed acute care, so to speak. We just couldn't get them in. And the other reason we did is we wanted to offer a different price point for people. Not everyone will need the highest level of precision and power that the XL Pro models have. A lot of people will get a lot of benefit from using the XX model that we have in the chair and extremity suite. So we have a couple different options, a couple different price points. We have different appointment lengths. In the chair, you can do a half hour, an hour, or 90 minutes. And on the tables or in the Pro Suite, you can do half hours or hours. Again, we do recommend for the suite, the Pro Suite, that we start everybody at 3 1-hour sessions for $99 as a promotional rate, so that they could really get the ultimate experience of PEMF. And then at that point, decide, do you want to continue with the XL Pro with the precision and power, or do you want to go to the XX model for the chair and extremity PEMF? So the whole body PEMF in the XL Pro Suite, we have the total body bed with table. We also have the chair pad with the rocker similar to the chair. It's the same chair that is in the chair and extremity room. There's also different accessories that we can use for focused attention. So the 6-inch rings, the 10-inch paddles, or the square pad with seat. And this way we can address different wellness concerns for our clients very specifically. So the Pro device, again, this has multiple adjustment knobs. So you can see we've got magnetic field strength, pulses per second, and the timer. And we're able to use 2 accessories on a person at one time. So we can do the whole body as well as a focused area at the same time and be very specific with the frequency and the intensity of the session. The EQXX device that we have can work on 2 people at the same time, but we can't use 2 accessories at the same time because the feedback confuses the machine. And we have just one knob here where we have the magnetic field strength and the pulses per second tied together into the one knob. But we are still able to either treat the body through the chair, which is phenomenal because your whole spine, if you're resting your head back against the chair, we're getting your brain and all the way down your entire spine. So as we're sending energy into your central nervous system, that energy is traveling throughout your body. But we can also do focused sessions as well. So one of my friends who's a chiropractor broke her finger. And as you know, that is not a good thing for a chiropractor to have to do. So she's been coming in just over her lunch and doing half hours every day on her hand to help that bone to heal faster so she can get back to treating patients the way she normally does. So you can see this is some of the versatility we have with the accessories. We can work on the ear or the jaw with the paddles, and you're seeing an ankle session. We do a lot of sessions with pelvic floor, bladder, and prostate with great results. Also elbow and knee, pretty much any part of the body. This is another slide showing how we might address a foot, a shoulder, and a wrist, abdominal organs, heart, lungs, uterus, intestines, etc., hip, sacrum, sciatica, and back issues as well. We also offer a nutritional supplement called Turbo Nutrients, which is a very comprehensive formula. Some of the magic of it is that it includes fulvic and humic acids, which support the cellular detoxification that happens during the PEMF therapy sessions. We have these here and we have some information on it. So if you want more information on the Turbo Nutrients, please ask your technician. And what to expect after your PEMF session. Expect to be thirsty. So because PEMF supports hydration, your available water that's in your body, as your cells open up and absorb it, you become thirsty because that water is no longer in circulation. It's actually in your cells. So your shriveled up raisiny cells went back into grapes and you've got to replenish the water. So please continue to drink water throughout the day. You will probably feel pretty relaxed, alert, energized, with less pain, better mobility, and improved sleep. And overall, a general improved sense of well-being. So that's a summary of PEMF, what it is, how it works, and how it can help athletes and pretty much everybody. So while you're sitting here, give some thought to who you know that could benefit from PEMF, whether it's someone who has been struggling with a wellness issue or someone who has an injury that's holding them back from being able to do what they love. We are here to help. Thank you.